Hi, ladies. Do you want to maybe switch on cameras if you can? Because only a few of us here for now, and we'll start in a few minutes. But maybe I can just connect a little bit with who's on the call. Josie and Ashwara. I'm probably saying that wrong. Do you want to just pop your cameras on if you can? Ah, there we go. Nice to see another face. Thanks, Josie.
Hi. Sorry, I'm already in my gown. I'm at home already. It's cold
Perfect.
in Maritzburg.
That's absolutely
Yeah,
perfect. That's what it's
sure.
about, right? Evening connects.
True, true. All right. Thank you, Lisa.
Awesome. Hi, Star.
Hello, hi.
Should we just give it a couple more minutes and then we start, eh?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, so I think we'll just get started, and if anyone else pops on, hopefully Star will let them in, and then we can carry on. So I think my screen share did come through. Hopefully, that's working. Josie confirmed she can see that, so that's wonderful. It would be really nice to see some faces. So I'm not just talking to myself, even if we can just pop them on in the start and we can all say hi. So if you don't mind popping your video on, if you're in your pajamas, you got your cup of coffee, whatever that looks like, let's connect and just see each other. That's amazing. Thank you. Maybe we can just keep ourselves muted. Um, Michelle, I just looked you up on LinkedIn. Are you doing the I just was looking at your profile. You're doing the financial expertise and deal protection. Is that your profile on LinkedIn? Is that you, Michelle? No? Different Michelle Bartlett Harris. Just when your name popped up, I did a quick search now. Okay. All right. Anyone else feel like popping their camera on and just saying hi? So I feel like I'm speaking to some real people out there this evening rather than just names on a screen. Please feel free to just pop your camera on and just say hi. So we can also just connect, because the idea is for all of us to also just have a chance to introduce ourselves, just very briefly give an idea of who you are and what you do, so we can really connect, because this is what our Women in Business Network is about, is also just really getting to know each other. Okay, so we're going to just start with that introduction where we can all just go around the room and say hi and say who we are. And I can start by just explaining who I am, what we're going to cover this evening. If you all feel comfortable, so you can just start to have a think about what you want to share with the room, say what it is that you do, and maybe a need. What is your need? What are you looking for? Let's try and actually dive into some real action tonight. Okay. Ashwari said my camera's not working for some reason. Okay, no worries. Thanks for letting us know. Okay, so go to my presentation. So we're looking forward to chatting to you all tonight about energy and performance and focus, and the real underlying essence of that. Tonight's focus is going to be on nutrition. So we're going to really dive into some topics around that. I hope you'll come away with some real practical tools and tips in terms of how to really enhance your business as a woman, showing up every day with all the needs and demands that us women all do have. Okay. So these are my details. So I'm Lisa. I'm a well-being coach, and these are my LinkedIn details. So please feel free to connect on there after the call. It'll be lovely to connect with all of you. Okay, so what's our plan for this evening? We're just going to start with a bit of an introduction, go around the room, just share a little bit. Let's talk about who we are just briefly. Everyone can just have a minute or two and just really say who you are, what it is that you do, and what is your need, so that we can really look to support each other. Then I'm going to dive into that educational share. So I'm actually going to talk about nutrition, well-being, energy, focus. How does that all come together? And then we'll spend a little bit of time at the end just doing a little bit of reflection on the things that we really want to focus on for ourselves, so we can create a little bit of accountability. So what's the intention for this session? I really want to try and change your perception maybe that you might have about health and nutrition, and just really try and bring it back to the kind of basic principles of how do we really look after and nurture our bodies, so we can show up as the most just energetically full and focused businesswoman in this amazing world that we live in, and all the opportunities that are there for us. How do we really enhance that? So I really want to encourage you to just set an intention to just be 100% present tonight. Just give yourself this hour to really gift yourself to be present in the moment, just really engaging with the content that's coming, and just to acknowledge that we are all under construction. So until the day we die, we're doing this work, we're self-developing, we're learning, we're growing, we're challenging ourselves. So I'm here to help you tonight, and just let yourself just take away whatever resonates. There's lots of information that might come at you, and you can kind of go, that doesn't really feel like it lands. But these are these couple of things. If you can just come away with 2 or 3 things that feel like they really resonate for you and you want to implement them in your life, then that's brilliant. So just set the intention to really focus on the things that feel like they're going to work for you where you are now. And just acknowledging that we're all different. We're all on different journeys in terms of our businesses, our well-being. And so to just see yourself and meet yourself where you are at in terms of that growth. Okay, so I'm going to start with an introduction as to who I am, and then I'd love to go around the room and hear a little bit from everyone else. So I'm a well-being coach, and I come originally from Cape Town. So these pictures in 2016 was us in our home in Cape Town before we went off and traveled around Southern Africa for a year. And we really just took the opportunity to do a little bit of a reset. We had our young boys with us, my husband Trevor, and our 2 boys, who are now big boys, 11 and 13. But this started a journey for me personally around really exploring what I really wanted for my life, really being intentional about the things we wanted for our family. Then, and underpinning all of our decisions was about well-being, psychological well-being and physical well-being. And in 10 years ago, we bought a little piece of land in the KZN Midlands. And so we've really enjoyed just living sustainably off our land, and really enjoyed in more recent time in this year getting to know a lot of amazing women in business in the Pietermaritzburg community. And there are pictures of me doing some work with the Pietermaritzburg Children's Home. And that picture of me running across the line is last weekend finishing Ironman. So one of my claims is that I really enjoy being an adventurer. So it's one of my qualifications. I enjoy putting myself out of my comfort zone, pushing my limits in terms of the psychological and physical challenges. So crossing that line in Ironman has been a long-standing dream, and I managed to complete that last weekend. So now I have to find the next out of comfort zone challenge. So why am I coming here tonight? Why did Star and Nompilo ask me to come and chat to this amazing women in business community? What are my qualifications? You know, for some of us, it's good to just know that I run Ironman and I have a farm and I live and breathe everything that I'm going to chat to you about well-being. And for some people, that's okay. And for others, they just need a little bit of actual data that says, I know what I'm talking about. So I like to be able to just share the different perspectives of my own story, but also actually I have spent many years in this space of studying well-being, really getting to this point where I work with individuals and companies around well-being and really looking at how do we support ourselves in the best possible way. And so I did a science degree at UCT. I studied health coaching in the UK. I've done my transformative leadership with the A to B Transformation National Organization South Africa, and that's all about understanding the brain and the mind and transforming leaders into being the most really optimized in the sense of understanding humans and understanding the human traits of behavior and seeing people where they're at. So I've combined the health coaching, which is the physical side and physical well-being, alongside psychological well-being, creating psychological safety in the workspace. And so that's where I'd say my niche really sits, is about understanding all the facets and elements that allow us to show up as incredible leaders in business, and especially as women in business, where we do carry and do many roles and wear many hats. And so how do we really look after ourselves in all those aspects? At the moment, I'm busy completing my prescribing lifestyle medicine course. So I'm an ambassador for our Health Coaches Global Academy. And as part of that, I was honored to be invited to be part of the first pilot of 25 health coaches globally that are studying a course on prescribing lifestyle medicine. So we're bridging that gap between standard medicine, where it might be more of a focus on symptom management. And I'm really wanting to work with people to help them to prevent getting to the point where they get to that needing medication or having chronic disease. And so how do we really look after ourselves as best as possible? And so the platform and the foundations of what we're going to share tonight is really about that physical and psychological well-being. Okay. So this is the work that I do. So I do a lot of speaking and workshops and talks. I do group coaching in a corporate environment and with personal people wanting to just enhance their well-being. And I spend a huge amount of time working on individual coaching with executives. So that's really such a beautiful space of being able to work with people to reach their well-being goals and visions that they have for themselves. So I love what I do. I feel very, very honored to be able to do this work and privileged to work with people on their well-being every single day. So that gives you a little bit of a picture of who I am, and I really want to hear from the room. So I'm just going to call out names, if that's okay, as I see them come up on the screen. And let's just share for a minute who we are, what we do, and what our need is. So I'm going to just set a little timer for myself so we can also just make sure we get around the room and give everybody a chance. So please, Louise, will you share with us first a little bit about who you are? Thank you. I think you're still on mute, Louise. Louise Magic. You're still on mute, Louise. Okay, let's jump to the next person. Whilst Louise figures out maybe hopefully being able to get off mute there. Thenji, am I saying that right? Ngeli, can you share with us, please? We'd love to hear from you. Let's connect. Let's all understand who we're working with here. Let's connect with our women in business community. Thenji, do you want to turn your mute off and share with us, please?
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. You've got a minute. Go for it.
Yeah, sorry, Lisa. I just literally just joined the thingy. So I was
Okay.
actually about to listen in where you guys are, and yeah, I literally just joined in. Sorry.
No worries, I'm throwing you right in the deep end. Just tell us a little bit about who you are, what is it that you do,
Okay.
and what is your need?
Okay. My name is Tenjiwe Ngele.
Mhm.
I am from Johannesburg, but I just moved to PMB. So I've been connecting with women, especially I've been connected with Numpilo. I don't know if you know her.
Yeah,
So she's been connecting us with different women, and I've been getting my way around. I'm a freelancer. I'm a personal PA, but a virtual one. So I've been getting my way around. I'm a mother of two. I'm a wife to a pastor as well. So yeah,
sure.
I've been in PNB for almost 2 years now. But I'm
Okay.
like I'm saying, I'm getting my way, mingling with other women, and obviously trying to get my business off, which is the virtual personal assistance. Yes.
Thank you. Brilliant. Spot on 1 minute. Thank you. Thank you. So really nice for everyone to know here. We've got a
Mhm.
virtual PA that can work anywhere in the country, I'm sure. So thank you for sharing with us. Okay. Louise, do you want to go? Okay, I can hear you, see your mouth moving, but not being. Oh,
Okay.
there we go. Off mute.
Yeah,
There you
got
go.
me now. Yeah,
Yeah,
always challenged when I'm working off my phone. Sorry.
go for it.
Hi everybody. I'm Louise Madgwick. Born in Pietermaritzburg, been here most of my life, brought my children up here. Spent a lot of my career in finance and property. And then a number of years ago, well, it's 10 years plus now, I qualified as a life coach with Results College, which is neuro-based. And I ran it as a part-time practice since 2018. And then 20 months ago, I went into it full-time. My focus of my work now has become very much focusing on the human in the system. If that makes sense to you, that's what I notice. Often systems operate and people fall through it for whatever
Hmm.
reason that is. And so I do a lot of that. I'm also working with a few people who have traumatic brain injuries. It's all about pacing and slowing things down with me with coaching and understanding how our nervous systems respond under pressure. So a lot of that. So I'm growing my practice. So last month, I am glad to say, was my best month in business since I started.
Awesome.
And
Thank you,
yeah,
Louise.
always just looking for connection. I think there's systems everywhere, and I'm just looking to connect with people. Literally, that's
Brilliant.
all I'm looking for is just connections. So which is what we're doing
Lovely.
now. Mm.
Exactly, exactly. Thank you, Louise. Lovely. Thank you for sharing.
Mm.
All right, Haley, you've popped up. Do you want to put your camera on and share a little bit about who you are and what you do and what your need is, please? You've got a minute. Go for it. Haley Fenter, if you want to unmute. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I'm not feeling that well tonight, so my camera's off.
No worries.
um, and my voice is not the greatest. So, yeah, Lisa, you know me. I'm here to support you because I'm a
Yeah,
health and wellness coach, and I just love learning. So, yeah, I've started my health and wellness coaching business about a year ago, and learning all the time. So I love it.
brilliant. Well, thank you for joining us, even when you're not feeling well. And thanks for the support, Haley. It's so lovely to hear your voice. And thank you for being here.
Pleasure.
All right. Michelle, do you want to go next? Go for it. Michelle Bartlett.
Hi. Uh, I'm trying to find all. Can you hear me? Let's start there.
Yes, we can hear you. That's perfect.
Okay,
And your camera's on. Thank you.
I'm going to be very quick. I've also got quite a bad flu. I'm Michelle, born and bred in Pietermaritzburg. I've lived 4 provinces. I sell real estate. I rent real estate. I eat, I sleep, and I breathe real estate. Yeah, that's most of it. And I'm here tonight to connect as well with the rest of you. And I think this is actually quite nice for the rest of us to learn how to support ourselves, supporting others. So the old saying that, take care of yourself, fill your own cup, then you can fill other people's cup. And that's why I'm here tonight. And I think that's all I can say.
That's amazing, Michelle. Thank you. And thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here. I think you touched on something that I think all of us on this call can resonate with is everyone's given themselves this time to fill their own cup first, maybe put the oxygen mask on themselves a little bit so they can show up for others. Thank you. Really lovely
Absolutely.
said.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, Star, do you want to tell us a little bit about you? Go for it. Start. Stars on the Women in Business lady who's organized tonight. Thank you so much for organizing this and all your organizing in the background for all of us.
Oh, thank you. My name is Tabile Sokela. I am a woman in business administrator. Yeah, that's
Okay, fabulous. Thanks, Star. Ashwari, sorry, I'm probably totally pronouncing that a lot wrong. I know your camera's not working, but please share with us. Ashwarya.
Hello. So I'm Ashwarya. I'm from Gauteng, and I'm a financial advisor at Old Mutual. And the reason I'm on this is also to learn and to fill my cup, like I think it was Michelle that said,
Yes.
and to grow as well, and to learn about balance. Like in the type of environment that we are, balance is very important. Yeah. So it's just that.
Lovely. Well, so nice to have so many people from all around the country. It's really special and so nice to also know that we all looking for similar things, isn't it? It sometimes just reminds us that we are all just human at the end of the day. So thank you. That's beautiful. Thanks for the share. Portia, please go next. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Portia.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Portia Duma. I run an HR consulting company, but I'm still also full-time employed. So when Lisa talked about we are under construction, so yeah, I'm forever under construction. So one side is open, the other side is still, being my business. So what I'm passionate about is to make sure that businesses, especially smaller businesses, that they protect their businesses by complying, obviously, with the laws of South Africa and making those things easier. Because I know how hard it is to open a business, and then all of a sudden you are hit with a summons from the CCMA that set you back for like a whole year for something that you could have avoided, you see. So I'm busy building. I have library, like in terms of your contracts, your employee contracts or employment library. I'm building that, and I'm also building a website, but also my services do include retainers, so I can be able to assist you in doing your HR audits and trainings and things of the sort. So I'm very passionate about what I do. I have about 7 years in the space, and I am qualified in the space as well. So I decided to then open my business because I saw the gap in the market and small vulnerable. So yeah, so hopefully today I'm able to balance obviously my full-time job and also my business right and seeing, so I don't go crazy. So that's why I'm trying to learn here. Thank you.
All right, lovely. Thank you, Portia. So important balance for you today. Thank you for sharing that, and well done for balancing all the things that you are balancing. Benele, please share with us. Benele Zama, if you want to unmute,
Oh,
please.
yes. Sorry about this.
Sure, we can hear
All of
you.
a sudden, I'm looking for my audio. Sorry about that.
Go for it.
Good evening, ladies. My name is Banile Zama. So the reason why I joined today is because I've been thinking a lot about well-being. So when I saw this core well-being, it immediately resonated with me. So I said I have to jump in, to find out more about taking care of myself. And I had just joined. I joined the gym last year because I was preparing for that, just for like focus for my mind, basically for my mental health. Actually, that's why I joined. So yes, yeah, that's why I joined today, because I wanted to learn more about well-being. I am a banker. I work for one of the major banks. I don't know if I can say that.
Okay.
A bank, yeah. So, and I'm currently exploring entrepreneurship. I have a lot of ideas when it comes to that. So, yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Exciting. Thank you. Thank you for joining, and well done for making the time. Okay,
Thank you.
Josie, please share with us.
Thank you. And good morning. Good evening, Lisa. Good evening to the women here. I did my camera earlier on, and you saw in my gown already at home. Yeah.
Perfect.
So my name is Josephine Tawani. I am a human resource development expert. I run a company called Unati Skills Consultants. And currently, I'm running it on a part-time basis, but I've been running it for over 5 years now. I am transitioning into running it full-time. And so currently I'm still in government, and you know how it is. You have to register or you have to get permission from, your head of department or your MEC, to do these sort of things, which I do. And but I want to transition into that. Why did I find this topic very appealing to me? I am a late menopauser. Just started with menopause, and I'm struggling with supporting how I show up. It's a new life for me, and so when I saw the topic, I thought, this is good for me. Let me join and see
Thank you, Josie. That's
from
brilliant.
I can really support myself, because going into full time means that I need to show up better and better.
Yes.
So that's me. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you for sharing. And I'm sure others on this call can resonate with some of the need in terms of the perimenopause or menopause. We all go through it. We can't avoid it. And certainly what I'm talking about tonight will help support that. So thank you. We've got two more. Sondiwe, please go.
Good evening, ladies. I can't even see myself. I hope everybody's doing well. My name is Landiwe Mutabi. I am the Chief Brand Catalyst at Entire Brands. We are a marketing company that helps other businesses to care and connect for their stakeholders using wellness, branding material, and corporate gifting. I'm here for two reasons. One, I am a fan of Lisa's work. So yes, I'm here as a support system, but also I'm just enjoying the continuous learning in the wellness space. I was telling a friend that the more you start digging, about how to get well or how to improve your well-being, the more you find. So that's the reason why I'm here today. And yes, energy is a big challenge for me. So I'm looking forward to hearing on ways in which we can improve our energy and performance. Thank you.
Amazing. Thanks, Sondiwe. Nice to see you. And this is a powerhouse lady with a lot of energy. So if you're really looking for some corporate branding and support, please reach out to her. So I've actually just, Sondiwe just reminded me, I've just shared my LinkedIn profile on the chat. Please everyone share your LinkedIn profile. So if there's anyone that's spoken tonight, and there's lots of different women here in terms of from around the country doing different things. If someone you want to connect with, please reach out to them on LinkedIn. Let's keep the conversations going and the connections going. Okay, last but not least, Salma and Tembu, please, will you share with us? Thank you, Sondiwe. Okay, Salma, are you there? Please share with us. We'd love to hear from you. All right, I'm not seeing her pop off mute. So Zama, if you are able to pop off mute, we would love to hear from you at any point. Oh, there you go. Oh no, still on mute. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. Zama, if you get a chance and you're able to chat to us during the session, please drop it in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. All right, I'm going to crack on because we're trying to get through quite a bit tonight. That it's going to take us a little while to work through it all. So we're just going to do our best to get through it within the time and finish by 7. Okay. So I want you to all please pick up your phones. I'm sure we've all got a cell phone within reach, or I hope that you do. Please, can you scan this QR code? I want to have a little bit of interaction from the room. I want to know how you are all feeling right now. How are you arriving today? So we are all being busy women, coming in from our businesses, our families, cooking food, getting ourselves to be able to actually get here by 6 o'clock and prioritize the time for ourselves. So really just want you to also take this time to just check in with yourself and just see, how am I actually feeling? Just in one word, 1 or 2 words, we're going to pop up a word cloud to just kind of land in the room. Tell us where you are at. How are you feeling? So scan the QR code, it should pop up and you should be able to answer on your phone. Hopefully we can get some responses from everyone. Once you've scanned it, you'll be able to click through whilst we're going today and just interact with the slides. Slido, please. Excited but tired. Nice. Thank you for those that are sharing. Happy. Awesome. And just really be honest with ourselves. There's no judgment here. And I want us to all take a moment to even feel into that, you know, where we don't often take time for us, me time, where it is about ourselves. How do we look after ourselves? How do we find balance? How do we care for our bodies? How do we really show up for ourselves? So without judgment, just being honest with ourselves, where are we landing? Okay. We've only got 2 responses, so I'm hoping other people are able to just try and give that a go. Can't seem to scan the QR using the same phone for Zoom. Okay, sorry, Portia. All right, so if you're on your phones, it's a little bit too difficult. You're welcome to pop it in the chat if you feel comfortable. The Slido is just a more anonymous space, but you're absolutely welcome. This is a safe space for us tonight to just share and grow. A lot of us have said we've come here because we really want to just develop. So please feel free to pop it in the chat. All right, so I'm going to just start us with a grounding exercise. So the reason we do this is that part of what I'm speaking about tonight, we're going to talk about nutrition, but I also want us to just be aware that we are this whole body. And we're not just so much what we're always putting in our mouths, but there's another element to this, which is our nervous systems. And when it comes to stress and how we respond, as Louise talked about, she does a lot of this work around nervous systems as well. It's such a key part of how we show up. So I want us to just take a moment to really just bring ourselves into the space and ground ourselves and give our nervous systems a little chance to come down. Okay, so if you feel comfortable, you're welcome to turn off your camera if it's on, or just close your eyes and just take a moment to really just ground yourself. So I'm going to take a few minutes to just activate that calming nervous system. So I invite you to take these few beautiful minutes to just pause, to soften into stillness, and to reconnect with your truth. I want you to take a nice deep inhale, really just bringing your body awareness into how your body is feeling right now, without judgment, just with curiosity. It's a nice deep inhale, deep exhale. Just becoming aware of where your body is making contact with your chair, if you're sitting in a chair, or where the body is making contact with the ground. Maybe your feet are pressed firmly on the floor, just feeling that presence of where your body connects to the earth. Just becoming aware of if there's any tension in your body, you're feeling any tension in your shoulders, maybe in your jaw. You just try and relax that tension just as you're breathing deeply in and deeply out. Just become aware of where that tension is, again, without judgment, just with curiosity. Breathing in and breathing out. Just allowing yourself to come into the fullness of this moment. Just knowing and speaking silently to yourself, I am here. I am now. So if you feel comfortable, you can place your hand on your heart, one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Just really feeling that inhale into your body and exhaling out, feeling the breath escaping from your body. Just letting all your tension fall away. You inhaling, just expanding through your body, into your body. And exhaling, just trying to relax completely. just want to release tension and open up to a peaceful stillness in your body and your mind. And I now invite you to just set a gentle intention by asking yourself, what do I want to embody as I move through this session? Just cultivate that beautiful focus. Really feel it in every cell of your body. What do I want to focus on? Allowing it to just flood your body and shine in your mind as you bring it with you as we move through this session with ease and grace. Thank you for joining me in that grounding. You might want to just stretch and just bring yourself back into the room. So again, we're going to pop it in the Slido if you can. Just how are you feeling now? Give us a word. You've taken a few minutes to ground yourself. How do you feel? Pop it in the chat if you can. If you're not able to access the Slido, that's fine. Just pop it in the chat. How are you feeling? If we can pop over to the chat if we've got any answers. Feeling calm, Benelli, thank you for sharing. Warm, more relaxed. Okay, so it's really this intention about realizing what we can do in a few minutes. Also, just a lot of the time, what I find in coaching is actually it's quite a disconnect between our brains and our hearts sometimes, and we struggle to allow ourselves to give us the space to just really allow ourselves to feel. And when we're feeling a little bit heightened or flustered or stressed, we have the tools to be able to just give ourselves those few minutes to just say, okay, I'm feeling into my body. I am aware. And isn't that beautiful on the Slido? Out of all those responses, the biggest word is calm. So that means that's the word that's come up the most. So feeling relaxed, calm. So it really is for us to just acknowledge that well-being encompasses many aspects, and this being able to care for ourselves first and just have a little bit of awareness of our body awareness really helps us to check in with ourselves and care for ourselves. So thank you for joining me in that. So why are we talking about well-being? What's going on? Why are we not all feeling well all the time? Why is it something that we do feel like we need to prioritize? And certainly from the work that I do in coaching and the work in corporates, there is a need for us to focus on this, but also to not feel too overwhelmed with so much information that's out there. At the end of the day, we realize we are in a little bit of a worldwide health crisis. You know, for the most part, these diseases that people are dying from, things like cancer, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, respiratory disease, Alzheimer's, those are all preventable. So those are things that we can really start to influence by how we think about our well-being. And so when we look at the factors that really affect those chronic diseases, physical inactivity, unhealthy diets, excessive alcohol, tobacco use, those are all things that we can have control over. Air pollution is something obviously a little bit more tricky, but for us today, we're really going to focus on that unhealthy diets, because that is often something that especially in the Western world and what we have exposure to in terms of food, we can really try and influence. And so I really want you to come away today thinking about just one or two things that you want to do differently in terms of your nutrition. So we've been living longer over time. Since the 1960s, our life expectancy has been increasing. And COVID, it dropped off. And again, new data is showing that, again, our life expectancy has continued to decline. And so we're not doing something right anymore. We were doing something and we were living longer, and something has changed. And so obviously our stress and our lifestyles is a lot busier, and we have a lot more inputs of information. And so taking those moments to calm our nervous systems and manage our stress response is so important in terms of what are we consuming. So what we consume is not only what we eat, but what are we exposing ourselves to? And what are all those inputs that we can just try and manage that a little bit So we don't land up as one of those statistics of the 70% of people in the world that are dying from diseases that we actually can prevent. In South Africa, we have a huge challenge with diabetes. So it's going to be predicted to be the leading cause of death by 2040. And so the interesting stats here is that there's a lot of people that don't even realize that they have diabetes or they're in a pre-diabetic state. And so one of the factors that gets measured for diabetes is glucose, and we measure our blood glucose level as a fasting glucose in the morning. The challenge with that is it's often not showing the trend that's happening, which if you look at this graph, the insulin resistance is something that builds, and then we are in the diabetes stage, whereas blood glucose tends to remain relatively low before we are actually in a risk state, which is why a lot of people are not really realizing that the insulin resistance is building. And so it's really important to just kind of look at actually our whole life and look at what are some of the symptoms that might indicate that we have got some insulin resistance building. And that comes from things like having inflammation somewhere in the body. So whether that's a gut that's not really working too well, and maybe you're constipated or struggling with other things, looking at ourselves a little bit more instead of just assuming that those are normal, and actually saying, am I struggling with regular headaches? That can be inflammation in the brain or in the body. And so am I struggling with discomfort? Am I waking up with sore joints? That's all indication of symptoms that might indicate that there is some insulin resistance and some buildup of glucose in the blood. So we just need to be, again, just curious with ourselves, understand and look at ourselves a little bit more, not again to come with judgment, because when we turn to judgment and we're hard on ourselves, we're building up that stress response at the same time. So we really want to come at it from a gentle perspective in terms of saying, okay, what can I start with today? Okay, and exactly what Michelle's actually written in the chat there, curious and mindful. That's really such a beautiful description of how we can approach our well-being. So in terms of the lifestyle medicine that I'm doing the course at the moment, we're really looking at the whole body. And so tonight, I've literally only got 20 minutes left in the session to really try and explore and share with you. And so I'm going to just focus on the nutrition piece, but I've touched on the stress here. Social support is so key. The studies show that somebody who's lonely and alone equates to the same symptoms as someone who smokes a whole heap of cigarettes. So our social networks are so key. And in this world of all this technology, we've actually lost a little bit of that social impact. So if you're wanting to work on something tonight and something comes up for you, maybe think about how do you combine some different elements, like going for a walk with a friend, and we can really start to build those elements together. So let's dive into the nutrition. What's your biggest challenge with nutrition? So well-being, as I said, it's all those factors, but tonight we're just really going to get curious about this point of nutrition. So if you can share on the Slido or pop it in the chat, what are some of your biggest challenges? So balance was something that came up earlier. And so what else are some of the challenges that we have around nutrition? So we can maybe try and talk to some of those points specifically. Please pop it in the chat if you're able to type on your phone or write on the Slido. That'd be awesome to get a little bit of feedback from the room. Thank you. Okay, mindset. Okay, that's a great one. And that is often the challenge is actually I'll have clients that want to work with me and say, okay, we're going to dive into nutrition. And we'll spend the first few sessions really actually working on the mindset and the psychological barriers that might be getting in the way of being able to actually focus on nutrition. So it's a big one to just give yourself a little bit of grace, come in gently and understand what is going on in terms of the mindset, what's really getting in the way. Sugar cravings. So that's a great one. We're going to talk about that tonight for sure. Junk food lovers. So often the junk food, it's an interesting one because what we eat also grows what goes on in our gut. So actually, if we're eating broccoli, we're growing little broccoli bacteria that communicate we want more broccoli. If we're eating junk food, we're growing those bacteria that communicate back to the brain we want more of that. So our body will certainly help us when we can start to shift the balance. And again, it's not the expectation is I'm never going to have junk food. I'm cutting it out from tomorrow. Be gentle, cut it out gradually. Don't have that stress response and expect yourself to achieve this brilliant thing overnight, and it's just not realistic. Okay. in the chat box challenges that every time I want to eat nutritious food, I see it's high in calories and get afraid to eat anything really. So I think Portia talks to a really important point here. There is so much information out there in social media and podcasts. There's so much coming at us in terms of nutrition that it's really hard to actually understand where do we even start. Because like that, oh, I don't want to eat it because it's high in calories. So I'm going to hopefully, Portia, give a bit of clarity around that and really help to just know where to start. I really today just want us to try and get back to basics. Hydration, I'm conscious of this, Louise. Okay, great. So aiming for hopefully a liter, it's a liter and a half or 2 of water in a day. Okay. Alrighty. So I want to just reinforce around habit change. So we can often, as I said, just kind of go with, okay, I'm going to cut out all sugar, or I'm going to cut out all junk food, or I'm going to cut out all energy drinks. And we feel like we need to do it all at once. And that can be really challenging because we just set ourselves up often for failure. And then again, that stress response kicks in around, oh, I've done so badly, and I start judging myself. And so I want us to keep in mind that change takes time. We've got to try and break those old habits, put in place new ones, takes us 6 weeks or so, and 36 weeks before it's really second nature. So try and go gently with yourself around, okay, I'm going to start with one small thing, and then I'm going to build another habit on top of that. So, for example, like Louise, drinking more water. Do you maybe drink a cup of water every time you go to the bathroom? Or do you drink a cup of water every time you have a meal? How do you just start to maybe bolt one habit onto another habit so that you can start to build it up slowly, not trying to expect yourself to do everything straight away. Okay, so this is the key concept of what I want to try and share and get across today is blood sugar balancing. So I'm going to start by just starting with the basics. What does the body need? We need carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. That's what supports the body. Those fats is where we really want to try and avoid the things like canola oil and sunflower oil, because unfortunately those oils have high in those hydrogenated oils have lots of free radicals. It basically means that the body's got to go around and try and eat healthy food, like things that have antioxidants in, like blueberries or beetroot, and blueberries are crazy expensive, so we're not all going to be eating those all the time. So you've got to be trying to eat healthy food to try and bind with those little free radicals and take them out of the body. So apologies if I'm getting a bit technical, but I'm wanting you to just try and understand, because part of my journey is that obviously I come from a science background, but I'm also very much about empowering you. I want you to be able to make that decision when you're standing in the shop and you're reaching out to grab something. I want you to understand what it's doing in your body so that you can make an informed decision. So the body is trying to keep you healthy and well. Like I say, it'll always support you with, if you eat a bit of broccoli, it'll grow those broccoli bacteria and help your brain make good decisions. But actually, how are you supporting it? By reducing the extra toxins that it's got to first try and clear out before it can help you build the good stuff. Okay. So we've got fats, proteins. It's important to just think about trying to find good sources of protein where you can. And then I'm going to focus today on this carbohydrate piece, because this is where it's got quite a lot of bad press. And maybe people think, oh, we should just not be eating any carbohydrates. And that's not really the case. It's just about what kind of carbohydrates that we're eating. And that's what I really want to try and get across to you tonight. So if that's the one thing you can come away with and feel a little bit more confident on when it comes to making healthy nutritional choices, then that's amazing. All right. So this is an image that I always show in my slides. And I'm aware Slondiwe came to a recent talk that I did, and a lot of this is all repeated. So sorry, Slondiwe, you're hearing it all again, but I hope that you can take away a couple of different things from this tonight. So I want you to really burn that image into your mind. You are a little Garfield. You will be eating every day until the day you die, or within a short space of time of where you pass. And so it's something we never can get away from. And yet, do we give it the attention that it really needs? You know, we want to build businesses and invest in learning about business and in learning about finance and budgeting and all those things. And we invest so much time and effort and thought and energy into those. And yet this is also one thing we can never get away from, is eating. And so when we're standing in the shop and we're just grabbing things mindlessly, can we slow ourselves down to just give ourselves a moment to really prioritize this one skill that we are going to do for a really long time? And so if it's going to take 36 weeks to change what you're eating, that's okay, because those 36 weeks are now an investment for your whole life. So again, I want to really encourage you to just be kind and gentle with yourself in that change and in those decisions that you're making to get to those 36 weeks. Just do it gently and make those small changes. Okay, so I talked a little bit about gut health, and I'm going to just go into that in a little bit more just detail shortly. But what we really want to try and focus on with this blood sugar balance way of eating is really to try and eat in a way that supports our gut biome, because that's so key. It is our second brain. It's a huge part of our immune systems and keeping us healthy. So we want to just be aware that whatever we Garfield momenting here is going to have an impact on that gut health. I talked about inflammation. So what we're trying to avoid is that inflammation in the body, because that is the underlying theme between all of those chronic diseases that I mentioned. Inflammation is the thread through all of them. So we really, really want to try and avoid inflammation in the body. And that's by balancing our blood sugar, we're keeping those sugar levels lower and reducing having that inflammation in the body. So what I'm trying to share with you is not counting calories, weighing food. It's just a sustainable, simple way of eating that you can then keep for your whole life. And really, quite frankly, what I'm trying to share is something that if we went back to sort of as we were as cave women back in the day, it's really try and think of yourself going back to that. What I'm eating, is it as close to as it comes off the farm or as it comes off the land? That's really your key. So when you're standing in the shop and you're picking up a packet of something that's in a packet that's got a whole lot of ingredients, that's quite far from what it was when it just came out the ground. So if we can take away anything, it can be just make sure we're making a decision as close to how it came out of the ground. I totally appreciate that there's people that have specific chronic diseases and need to focus on specific diets. So obviously taking that sort of aside, we're just saying, we're assuming here that we're just all looking to try and eat a little bit better. Let's try and keep it as whole food and close to real food as possible. So I want you to keep in mind something like we drink alcohol, and what happens? It affects us, because what we've done a little Garfield moment, and then actually our behavior shifts because what we've put in our mouth crosses the blood-brain barrier. So whatever you're Garfield eating, the packet of chips, the cake, that is going into your bloodstream, into your stomach, into your bloodstream, and being able to go into your brain. Not all of it, and it does have a barrier that does block some of it, but keeping in mind the level of toxins and extra glucose that you're putting in here, Garfield, is going to go potentially into your brain. So it really is keeping in mind that what you put in here affects the whole body. So we really want you to try and live that good, healthy, long life, and not that in those last 10 years, you've got lots of medication and you're quite immobile and you're sitting around. We can still live a healthy, mobile life quite far into our aged years if we really look after the thing that we do every day until the day we die. So I talked about this 2-lane highway, and I really want you to just take a moment to think about that. When we are feeling stressed, when our nervous systems are heightened and we in that flight or fight response, and we're just trying to respond or we're just reacting more than responding, when we're in that stressed state, that highway goes both ways. So if our brain is not in a great space, our stomach's going to struggle. So I used to really struggle with anxiety, which meant that I was constipated a lot of the time and struggled with all the things that comes with being constipated. And I didn't realize that for many, many years. And so once I was able to sort out what I was eating and how my brain was thinking, I could help my gut. So it goes both ways. If we're struggling in our mind, our gut can struggle. If we're eating bad things and putting bad things into our gut, our brains can struggle. So things like depression, things like struggling with our mental health, very impacted by what we put in our mouth. So just to be aware of that 2-lane highway going both ways. So this is a great opportunity if you can take a moment to get a piece of bread and actually just test this for yourself. So I'm really diving into now the carbohydrate piece. What happens when we eat carbohydrates? So bread is a carbohydrate. We eat that. The enzymes in our mouth start to break down the bread, and it starts to break down into the glucose, which is sugar. So what happens when it gets broken down? It goes into our mouth, starts to break down into our stomach, And as I said, there's one cell between the stomach and our bloodstream. So when it gets broken down, that carbohydrate gets broken down into glucose and it literally goes into our bloodstream. But our blood is like a mole. So it's got no idea whether you've eaten bread or you've eaten sugar. So depending what's in that carbohydrate and how quickly it breaks down, it can react like you've eaten sugar. So what do I mean here? What happens? You eat carbohydrates, so you've eaten something like a slice of bread, it goes into our bloodstream, and the body goes, oh, I need to make energy from this carbohydrate. So we need carbohydrates, they give us energy, that's fine. But the problem is, it goes into that little cell and it breaks down the carbohydrate. When we've got carbohydrates that have been refined, so all processed, you must have all heard the word processed foods. That's the thing, we're trying to avoid these processed foods, because if you think about going into the field and eating that piece of wheat and chewing on the wheat that the farmer has grown, that's been ground down to make flour, actually that takes quite a long time to break it down, and your teeth have got to chew it and break it down, and then you get that carbohydrate coming into your bloodstream slowly. The problem is we have the wheat that comes off the field, gets ground down into flour. So our carbohydrates that are processed are hitting our bloodstream really quickly. So our little cells are trying to break it down, and they're going, there's way too many carbohydrates coming into the bloodstream. I can't deal with this right now. I'm just going to stick you in a fat cell and I'm going to deal with that later. So gaining weight is a natural part of when we're having too many processed carbohydrates and the blood sugar is too spiking. That's when we gain weight. So I've got a really lovely image of that I'm going to show you now. But just to give you an idea, that's the amount of sugar equivalent that you're getting from a slice of bread. So what's actually happening? So we're eating that slice of bread, it's spiking our blood sugar, and we start on this little roller coaster. So when we spike at the top and we have a lot of processed carbohydrates, it starts to impact our dip at the bottom. The higher we climb on the roller coaster, what goes up must come down. And some of you mentioned about the energy and tiredness. This excess energy turns into fat and we start to feel tired and hungry. And one of the other things that was mentioned was cravings. So this is a massive part. When we've had a processed carbohydrate that spiked our blood sugar, it's inevitably come down. And when we're sitting at the bottom, that's where the cravings start to kick in. So if we can keep ourselves in that middle range and choose foods that keep our blood sugar quite balanced, then we don't have those spikes and it helps to get rid of the cravings. So when I've worked with clients that are really committed to just eating more blood sugar balanced ways of eating, they can stabilize their blood sugars within a couple of weeks and the cravings disappear. And it really is absolutely possible. I've worked with 70 clients over the last few years, and it is testament every single time to the same thing. If we can just look at what we're eating and try and reduce those processed carbohydrates, we can really start to stabilize our blood sugar. So I've just given you an idea here. This was a glucose monitor that you wear that measures the glucose in your blood, and that was me with measuring there what I was eating. The kids were loving it. They gave me little gummy sweets. Let's see what's going to happen, Mom. And you can see the spike there. On the right-hand side, same, I'd eaten breakfast, and in the afternoon I had a piece of fruit, and that spiked my blood sugar. That piece of fruit, a banana. So even though we might think of fruit as being a healthy choice, just think to yourselves, does this fruit actually taste sweet? Because if it is, like a mango or a banana or a pineapple, they are sweet fruits. They are going to have more sugar in them and more glucose hitting your bloodstream than something like an apple maybe, or an orange that just has a lower amount of sugar. Okay. So what are we aiming for? This is what we're aiming for. So take a picture or take a screenshot. This is really what you're trying to think about when you're trying to eat in a blood sugar balanced way. You're trying to have a balanced plate of food. So we talked, that comment about balance came up a couple of times when you were all introducing yourselves at the beginning, and what you're looking for. That's balancing the blood sugar, balances our energy. So we don't have those energy dips in the afternoon when we've eaten maybe a processed carbohydrate-filled meal and our energy, our carbohydrates and glucose is spiked, and then it's dipped and we're having that low energy dip. And then what do we do when we're sitting at the bottom there and having low blood glucose? The body goes, give me the quickest processed carbohydrate you can give me. Oh, let me go and look for a chocolate or a cake in 3 o'clock in the afternoon because I'm trying to lift my blood sugar up again. So try and choose these blood sugar balanced meals. So half a plate of non-starchy veg, a quarter carbohydrates, a quarter protein, and some healthy fats. And the key thing here is protein with every meal. So whether you're having a snack like an apple, can you have a little bit of dry horse or biltong or some nuts with it? It just brings in a little bit of protein and helps to balance the blood sugar. So Haley said they also try eating protein before drinking coffee, which raises the cortisol. So a very good point. Thanks, Hales. So when you have coffee, that has the same reaction, the blood sugar spike. It will spike your blood sugar. So if you can start the day with having some water rather than the coffee, that just sends you off on that blood sugar roller coaster, and then your body is spiking, crashing, and not making good decisions. So psychologically, you might be wanting to eat well, and the body's going, I've got another plan. I'm aware that we're just coming to the end of time, so I'm just going to jump to the last couple of slides here. So what we also want to try and aim for variety of things, really need to help us support our gut biomes by eating lots of different color foods, lots of variety. So just to summarize, out with the processed carbs as much as possible. But remember what I said in the beginning, go gently with yourselves. Don't expect to cut out everything straight at once. You've got to get organized and plan food and plan your week and shop accordingly. And it takes time to put those changes in place. Okay. Reducing the sugar sustainably. As I said, I'm going to cut out all of it. If I'm having 3 sugars in my coffee, I'm just going to start with having 2 sugars from tomorrow and do that for a little while and then reduce. Don't just go cold turkey, because it's just really hard. It's hard on you emotionally and you just set yourself up for failure. So just go gently. And that eating regularly every 3 to 4 hours is really to just try and avoid that drop. If we wait too long and the blood sugar drops, it's really hard to make good decisions at that point. So if you can just make sure you've always got some snack with you, so if you realize you're rushing around, can you still just have a little bit of food to keep your blood sugar in that balanced range? Okay, as close to the farm as possible, water, and get that body moving. Okay, so let's commit. What is one small action that you're going to take, whether that's anything that I've spoken around, stress, connection, food, nutrition, what is one small action that you're going to commit to? So we're going to create a little bit of accountability here, and for you to get into that space of really thinking, what do I want to do differently? Please feel free to connect, just share it on the Slido or type it in the chat. Is one small action that you're going to take. Thank you for those that have been sharing their LinkedIn. That's awesome. Okay, what have we got coming through? I'm sorry we've gone over a little bit. I'd love to still just get a little bit of feedback from the room and for people to just try and think about the commitment they're going to take. Okay, thank you, Michelle, for popping in the chat there. I'm going to try 2 sugars instead of 3. Brilliant. A nice, sustainable way to start. When are you going to start? That's the next question. Okay, for each of you, I'm going to be intentional about that I eat. Make sure that I eat a balanced meal at all times. Okay, so Portia, again, maybe just think, is it all times? Is that realistic that from tomorrow you're going to get all your meals balanced? Maybe just think about, can I start with breakfast in this next week? Can I at least get breakfast right, or lunches, and just start with one meal and then build from there? Okay, Benele, food and water. So Benele, what are you going to do to make sure you drink more water? What preparation can you make to make that happen? What do you need to do? Do you need to buy a bottle or put that bottle by the door? What is the actual practical steps that you need to make to start drinking more? Regular meals, Louise, is so important. That's good, but what is your commitment? What do you want to do differently? What do you want to change? Is there anything? More robust tea, Haley. Awesome. Okay, tomorrow, lucky only 1 cup of coffee a day. So Michelle, 1 cup of coffee really is the recommended number. And can you maybe have that coffee just alongside some food so that the protein in your food helps to balance the blood sugar response from the coffee? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to share my contact details now, Ashwari, so you can reach out on there if you want. Take a water bottle to work. Okay, drinking more water. So water is such a great one, and it's such a good, I found with many clients that they can just start with that and get their routine around water better. Everything else starts to build from that. So really just start with that one small habit and then really build the others. That's brilliant. Lunch prep from tomorrow, Louise. Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. Okay, eat more healthy meals and limit the junk food. Okay. So it's always about, if we're going to replace one habit, if we're going to cut out a habit like not having junk food, just make sure you replace it with something. Don't leave a void. So if you're not going to have junk food, what are you going to have? What do you need to have in your home or in your office so that you make sure you make a healthy choice instead, and that it's there to get cut a bit of my regular portions. Yeah, portion size is a good one. So I haven't really specifically talked about portion size, but it's important. If it feels like that's what you want to do, then that's definitely something and again, what is cutting portion size? It's not, I'm going to cut it in half. Can I just take maybe 5% off or 10% off and just have a little bit to start and cut it down just sustainably? Regular exercise. So whoever's put that is, what is regular exercise for you? Is that every day? Is that every second day? Is that every 3 days? Set yourself a realistic goal. And when are you going to start? And what preparations you need to make to start that exercise. So get quite specific with yourself around, what is this action that I'm actually going to take off the back of this session, and start with that. Okay, buy my groceries differently as I learn more on nutrition. Well done, brilliant. So just think about what you'd be bringing into your home. Okay, is popcorn a good replacement for biscuits? Asking for a friend. So certainly, a popcorn versus biscuits, I would say yes, it's a little bit closer to a whole food. It depends also on the popcorn, if it's freshly made popcorn that you're not got a lot of additives to it, because again, if you're picking up the packet of popcorn and it's popped in the microwave, it's going to have lots of things on it. And so can you vary it up with popcorn occasionally and a piece of fruit occasionally? Because popcorn again is going to be quite carbohydrate heavy. Can you have green beans? Green beans are a great option. They're a bit of protein and a bit of carbohydrate. So can you throw in beans or peas or something as well, like sugar snap peas? Buy and prepare meals at home from Thingy. My problem is not having time to prepare food. That will help me avoid the junk food. So for a lot of people that struggle to have time for food prep, that's really about maybe trying to find time on a weekend. Can you do a bit of meal prep on the weekends, that you've got kind of meals for the week just prepped and done, so that there is real whole food in the fridge ready to go, and it doesn't feel like such a barrier when you come home from a busy day. Okay, amazing. You've all done such beautiful shares. Thank you so much for interacting with that. Let me just go to the next one. So the Zoom pop-up is in the middle of the screen. It's quite hard work. Right. So your call to action, and just for this wonderful group for tonight, please feel free to reach out to me, send me a WhatsApp message, book a call for today. If you message me, I am very happy to sit with you for half an hour and really explore what's going on for you, what's maybe getting in the way, something that came up in this session that you just want to feel like, I just want to work through that. It feels like a barrier. Message me, WhatsApp me, and let's set up a call. I absolutely would love to gift you that time. The fine print, be ready for change. So really message me if you feel like, okay, I'm ready to implement change. And if you're not, that's totally okay. I really want you to all know that sometimes there's other barriers and other psychological things that we need to work through, that we may not be ready for change. And if you're sitting here now feeling like it's just too much, I just don't feel like I can even start, then maybe lean in a little bit more to what is that healing and psychological healing, or maybe some trauma therapy, something that might be getting in the way. And that's totally okay to do that work first, because that is the thing that's going to stop us from wanting to implement change. Okay. On the chat. Oh, you're an angel, Lisa. I can't believe we're blessed enough to get the worth of knowledge for free. Thank you. It's very sweet of you, Portia. I've learned a lot in these 20 minutes. That's brilliant. Thank you. Thanks for the lovely feedback, everyone. That's really, really awesome. I'm so glad you have enjoyed it. It's such an honor and a privilege to share with you all, and I'm really sorry for running over time. It's always so hard to fit everything into a short amount of time, and I'm so passionate about all of this. Please feel free to pop in the chat or even pop off mute if you can stay on and you've got some questions. I'm happy to share a bit more. So please feel free to ask a question, engage, connect with me a bit more. It really is an honor and a privilege to share with you all tonight. Thank you for making the time, and well done for prioritizing yourselves and gifting yourselves this opportunity to put the oxygen mask on yourselves with your own needs. Thank you. Please feel free to ask any more questions if you need to. Anything that came up and you thought, oh, but I'm doing this, it was great to have that popcorn question. It's really important to just kind of get some clarity on things that might feel like they're getting in the way. Anything that you feel stuck with, please feel free to share. Happy to answer. But otherwise, goodbye and good evening. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you in the next one soon.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Lisa. Bye.
Thank you, Star.
Thanks,
Star,
Good evening,
bye.
everybody.
the call up so I
Bye-bye.
can
Thank
copy
you,
the
Lisa.
chat, please.
Thank you, Lisa. Bye, everyone.